Day 2, take 2, track 2. Let's go. So let's talk about it. Track number 2. What is track number 2? Track number 2 is titled Succumb. And before we even get into the record, what does the word succumb represents? What does it stand for? So to succumb to some, you got present tense, you got past tense. To succumb, like, somebody succumbed to their illness, right? I mean, they fought, but they couldn't win. They didn't win. They gave in to whatever it is that they were suffering, and they succumbed to it. But the present tense is succumb, meaning that you gave up. You yield to some force that is overpowering you in some way, shape, and form, and you give up. Whether that force is pressure, whether that force is addiction, whether that force is your health, or whatever the case may be, right? There's something that happened or is going on that you just yield to it. You gave in. So that's what succumb means. So what was the inspiration behind Succumb, the record Succumb? What was the process like, and what triggered these emotions for you to feel so compelled to write a record titled Succumb? And where were you in life? What state of mind were you that triggered this record? So Succumb, if you listen to it, is one of those soulful ballads. Well, it's not a ballad, but it's a soulful contemporary song. There's a lot of emotions in it, and that was intentional, because I'm looking to touch. I'm looking to touch you in some way, shape, and form. I'm looking to make you stop and reflect a little bit. That was the whole intention behind this record. What was the process like? The process was when I heard the record immediately spoke to me. Like, that record is one of those type of records where I hear it today, and I have a song for it today. It's really that touching. So it was really easy to put together as far as the words, because it's an emotional type of record. I'm trying to capture emotions. I'm trying to get you to stop and feel something. And those records for me are some of the easiest records for me to write, because I know how to connect with emotions to convey a point. So the process was seamless. I wrote the record. I think it was one of those around the time I was rushing to create the follow-up to my last project. I think it was 2023 when I wrote this song. 20, yeah. I didn't record it till maybe 24. I don't remember exactly when I recorded it, but I know I recorded it with my man's Don Cash. And because I remember we was going about that one, like, can you stand the rain? He's like, whoa, that's dope. Whoa. While we was in the studio in the process of recording it. So that record was was really, it was kind of personal to me. It was personal to me because if you listen, it seems like I'm speaking to somebody specific, but I'm not talking to just one person. I'm speaking in riddles, so to speak, but I'm not speaking to one person, because a lot of people can resonate with that record. God damn, man, you succumb to drugs, succumb to lust, succumb to everything you know is wrong. That's universal. There's a lot of people that, they, for some, whatever reason, whatever they may have been going through in life, they took a turn. because Succumb, I looked at the world. I looked at my environment, not just the world, in my environment, and then I noticed that a lot of people that we grew up with, a lot of people we went to school with, somewhere down the line they took a turn for the worse, right? You know, people started doing hard stuff, and you started to hear about cases of overdoses, people dying, and you're like, whoa, you know, young people at that. And when we were coming up, when we were younger, like we don't mess with stuff that's gonna take us out. You know, some of us might smoke weed here and there, but never take it to the point where you're like, whoa, this shit right here is a whole nother level. But I started to notice that people that we grew up with, people that I played ball with in school, you know, they started, you know, smoking pipe, crack. I said, how did you get here? You know, how did we get here? And I know life is tough, and I hate to judge addiction, because addiction is a tricky thing. It's a tricky thing. Some people have predisposition to addiction, and some people don't. Right? So some people, but my take is, when you look at the people that have the predisposition, when you look at your family line and all the stuff going on with your bloodline, right? I think it's productive to say the buck stops here, but also it's hard. It's hard because some people just don't have that mental makeup to just, you know, remove themselves from certain places of things. And it's easy for me to say because I can never see myself going down a certain route. I just can't see it. Because even when I used to hang out in the clubs and, you know, take shots and drink, and, you know, sometimes when you start to drink a lot, you start to notice that you want to drink more. And me, once I started to notice that, I was like, I'm done with this shit. I pull that plug. I go cold turkey. I'm done. Because, you know, the more you go, the more you have to go. And sometimes you go so far that it's hard to pull yourself back out. You know, but I notice a lot of people succumb to addiction, that tough type of addiction that you may need, you know, a lifelong battle with. You know, you may have to fight a lifelong battle with, and that's what Succumb came from. That was the motivation behind it. Like, you succumb to drugs, you succumb to everything you know is wrong. You know, and I hope you do the necessary things to pull yourself out of it. I hope you take the you know, the time and you know, because the amount of time you took to get into it, you may have to take twice that much time to get out of it. But it has to be intentional, and it have to be. It's a battle. You have to fight, but you got to want to fight. You know, so that was the motivation, inspiration behind Succumb. You know, I wanted to touch some hearts, you know, and some minds in the process, because the record is it's deep. It's there's an emotional feel to it. Like, even the instruments, when you hear it, it's like, this one is very touching. And, you know, I had to convey the correct message to drive it home. All right, so that was the whole motivation behind it. You know, just looking at the direction that a lot of people are going, and I'm like, man, that is just not the way to go. It's not where we should be heading. That shouldn't be our motivation. You know, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at play. But, you know, that was the motivation behind Succumb. I hope you find these stories entertaining, because we got more. The next record is what? Gangsta. Gangsta was recorded and released late last year, I believe. You know, but we'll get into that on the next episode. Conversations with Pete. Let's go. Love.
If your life is sacred, you should move as such. Them boys, they say hating cause we glowing up. I mean the truth to me, a treasure, so I look it up. It's always been my pleasure, let me coach you up. You see them essential things, all you really need.